Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Before I get started on today's video, which is about 10 of my holy grail fragrances, I just need to apologize. Difficult to do. It's hard to say, but there's really no way around it, so just get it over with. I need to apologize to Dracar Noir right there because I didn't include it in today's video. It's no excuse, you know. I probably should have, but I just, you know, sometimes lapse of judgment. I'll try to be better. Like, there's no other way around that, you know. Freaking light right in my eye. So yeah, I need to apologize to everybody out there who loves Dracar Noir. I'm sorry. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. So like I said, we're talking about 10 holy grail fragrances today, my holy grail fragrances, with the caveat that I am not including some of my more commonly referenced fragrances that I love. So fragrances like Dracar Noir or Acqua di Gio Profondo, things like that. A lot of those fragrances I've left off of today's list because I wanted to include some that I don't talk about quite as often. Also, versatility, compliment factor, none of that stuff applies in today's video. This is solely just stuff that I like the smell of because they smell awesome, at least to me, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. It's just fragrances that I think are functioning on a higher level, a higher plane of existence. So we got some niche in here. We got some designer, just killer stuff, man. Or at least I think it is. Some of these you're gonna be like, dude, I would never wear that. Well, I would, at least around the house. All of these are gonna be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. And here's a bunch of codes that you can use if you want to save some money at different websites. If you don't want to, that's cool too. All right. Let's start. Okay, this first one is a fragrance that I fell in love with the second it was released. This was back in 2013, I believe it was. And I actually had a plug, okay? I had a contact who would fill up little 4 milliliter bottles, like these little vials essentially, from the house of their fragrances, and I got one of these. I'm not even sure if salespeople for this house still do that, but they used to. It used to be like you could get these little 4 mil bottles of pretty much whatever. If you know, you know, I guess. But I got this one as soon as it came out, and I loved it so much. And my wife hated it, like just as much, yeah. For a time, she hated this more than pretty much anything that I owned and would actively like gag anytime I wore it. And I've talked about that a few times on the channel. And over time, she actually grew to appreciate it because I wouldn't stop wearing it, again, because I liked it so much. I did get a bottle, of course, and it's this Tobacco Oud from Tom Ford, which unfortunately, this is it's getting pretty difficult to locate nowadays. As of when I'm shooting this video, FragranceNet has them in stock, but it ain't cheap. It's like $250 for a 50 mil, I believe is what they have it listed for, right around there. But I'll tell you what, it's worth it. It is worth it. I love Tobacco Oud. And interestingly enough, this one just always worked for me. First time I smelled it, I thought it was just amazing. Yeah, just like, I love it. It's got this boozy whiskey kind of note to it, you know, very deep, rich, classy. Of course, it does have tobacco, kind of sweet tobacco. That oud in there gives it a little animalic touch. And yeah, like I said, my wife despised it, and I know a lot of people don't really like this one if they are not into fragrances. You know, it's not as easy to wear as something like oud would, but I think it is absolutely fantastic. Tom Ford Tobacco Oud is something I will always have, even though it is gonna be getting much pricier as time goes on. Now I'm gonna get this one out of the way real quick because this is what I feel like is probably the only very obvious one that I have in here as far as my own personal taste goes, and it's Dior Homme Intense. I really couldn't leave this one out. I think this is one of the best designer fragrances that has ever been made. I love the iris that's in here. Yes, it's makeup-y, whatever, I don't care. And yes, it's more of an evening formal fragrance for cool weather for most people. Again, I don't care. I have multiple bottles of this. And when I say multiple, I don't mean 2. I got a lot, okay? It's just like, it's too much, frankly. I'm never gonna use them all. It is the one fragrance in my collection that I have the most bottles of, outside of the ones that I creatively directed, but that doesn't really count. Because if I have, 16 bottles of one of my fragrances hanging around, that's a little different. By the way, each one of my fragrances you can find at every fragrance outlet or Perfumania store in the United States. So West Loop, Edgewater, those are the 2 new ones. Check those out. They're also linked in the description, or you can get these travel sizes. Cool, let's keep going. This has, to me, just the perfect balance of ingredients. It's got just the right amount of sweetness, not too much. It maintains that classiness the whole way through. A little bit creamy, very rich, just like the pinnacle of class. So Dior Homme Intense, this is another one that I'll always have, but I've already taken care of that by buying an absurd number of bottles over the years. What are you gonna do? If a good deal presents itself, I can't say no. Gonna follow that one up with Amo Memoir. Man, we're starting off with some dark bottles here. Make sure the cap is on there. Memoir has long been one of my favorites from Amo. I feel like I got this one in 2016. I think that's when I got it. A little bit late to the party because this came out, I think, in 2010. So I didn't buy this one when it was new. I actually got this one a good deal later. But when I first sprayed it on, I was like, wait a sec, where have you been? Hello. Very, very rich and complex, this fragrance. Very dark and woody also. Has a prominent note of wormwood in there, which gives it an interesting herbaceous green feel. Not really what I would call bitter, but certainly has a touch of that. A touch of bitterness underneath everything. A little smoke in there as well. Definitely stands out against what's coming on the market nowadays. Just a very, again, rich, complex fragrance that if you enjoy woody scents, which I very much do, this is one of the best. So Memoir, gotta have that. This lineup right here is just looking good. Let's go with something a little bit fresher next. Allure Homme Sport Edition Blanche. So this one really well known for having kind of a lemon meringue pie vibe to it, lemon cream pie. And yeah, that's pretty accurate. So a nice change of pace for a summertime fragrance because that lemon is, again, very creamy, rich, sweet, a little bit spicy as well. Not overly spicy, just a touch of fresh spice in there. Just really good. It's like, that is how you describe it. It's just really good, dude. That smells nice. Extremely wearable, and also, as far as Chanel's fragrances for men goes, fairly under the radar. There have been numerous times that I've gone to a store, a department store that has fragrances, and I'll go to the counter and everything, and they got Chanel stuff there, of course, and they won't have this. They'll have Bleu de Chanel, they'll have Allure Homme Sport, all that stuff, but not this one. You can still find it. You can find it at Chanel's website and everything, so it's not discontinued. It's just not as big, you could say, as those other ones. And so that gives it a little more uniqueness. There's not as many people wearing it. Now, a fresher niche one. Bleer Street from Bond number 9. This is really one of the only Bond number 9 fragrances that I keep going back to. There are maybe 4 or so from Bond number 9 that I really, really, really enjoy. And this is the first one that got me hooked in a big way. And I ended up buying, over the years, a lot of Bond number 9 fragrances, maybe like 3 dozen. And again, of those 3 dozen, there's like 4 of them that are pretty good. I know it sounds like an exaggeration. It's really not. Bleer Street, Scent of Peace for Homme, bondnumber9.com, which is kind of eventasy, and some people would say Scent of Peace is kind of eventasy. And then New Harlem, I like all those. Those are good. And then there's a few others that are like, pretty good. But those 4 are the 4 that like, I can wear those and still really feel like they're very good. Bleer Street, is my personal favorite. It's a fantastic spring fragrance, just really one of the best. Blueberry in there smells fantastic, kind of a grassy opening, very green, very fresh. As it dries down, you get some suede that pops out there. Smells similar to Purple Label from Ralph Lauren, but this one lasts longer, projects better, has higher quality. Overall, I like Bleer Street more, but Purple Label is very good as well. That being said, Purple Label is not, really popular fragrance. Not many people wearing that. And Bleer Street, frankly, a lot of people not wearing that either. At least not where I'm at. So really love this one. Springtime, one of my always go-tos. After that one, I've got Versace Dreamer. I got 2 bottles of this stuff. I have a vintage bottle and then a new-ish bottle. Not really new at this point because it's probably like 5 years old, maybe 6. But Versace the Dreamer originally was purchased for me by my wife, who has long since given up on purchasing fragrances for me ever. Because, I got too many. I don't expect her to know what I do or don't have. So at this point, she's fully given up, and that's okay. I support that completely. But at the time, she was still attempting to buy me fragrances from time to time, and the Dreamer is one that she got for me, and I did not own it at the time. And I really, really fell for it right away. I mean, the packaging is cool. The bottle looks really nice. It's got this like little column up top, and you press that and the atomizer actually works decently. The Medusa on the front there just looks classy, it looks cool. This one's really aromatic. You have tobacco in there, but it's not like a really, honeyed pipe tobacco or anything like that. Lavender in there, sage. So it's got a very masculine scent profile to it that's clean, slightly fresh, but then also has a little herbal feel to it. And as it dries down, you get tonka that comes out. It gives it a nice little touch of sweetness. So it's something I've always really enjoyed, has good performance as well, and it's not too expensive. Follow that one up with Aviation Club from Mage. This is unfortunately the only one that I own from the house. Truth be told, I never really got around to testing any of the others from the house, which actually seems pretty stupid since this is a fragrance that I really love. I don't know why I never did that. Yeah, go me. Ugh. So originally, the way that I came across this one was many, many, many years ago. Scent Trunk, which has since completely changed their whole business model, but Scent Trunk used to be a company that would send you out samples each month. So 3 samples, I believe it was. And you would rate like how much you liked them, what you liked about them. And they were supposed to adjust like what they would send you each month based on what you liked, what you didn't like. So it was essentially supposed to be a way that you could try out fragrances, like niche fragrances, indie fragrances, and find new things that you liked without spending a whole bunch of money. And it was also kind of cool because it was like a mystery pack each month where you didn't know what was gonna be in there. So this was in there one month, and that is how I tried it out. And I loved it, just absolutely loved it. And I still do. It smells, it's perfect. There is nothing I would change about that. It's nostalgic for me in a way. So like when I smell this one, I'm not even sure why, but it's nostalgic. Makes me think of like when I was a kid. And again, I don't know, I couldn't tell you why. So it has like a bit of an antique smell to it. Not in the way that the fragrance comes across smelling like a fragrance from, decades gone by, but it has like an aged kind of feel to it. Like when you go into an old house or an old store in like downtown of a small city or something like that. It's also green. Another one that has tobacco, but again, similarly to the Dreamer, not a, honeyed, really sweet, fruity tobacco. It's also got some woods in there. It has coffee, I believe, boozy notes, but those don't come across in a really strong way. I just, I just absolutely love it. It's not the type of fragrance that a lot of people are gonna, gravitate toward as an everyday wear or anything like that. It is absolutely one of those types of scents where you almost just have it for yourself. That's what it is for me. I absolutely love the way that smells. Yeah. Do they make a candle of this? They should make a candle of this. I would buy 10. After that one, light blue forever. This one is quite affordable from discounters. I think it's around like 40 bucks nowadays. And the opening here is what I love. I know that some people don't. For some people, the opening of this one is too much, just a bit too far in the like grindy, citrusy direction. That's why I like it. Yeah, I love it. A very natural, rindy, you know, sweet and sour kind of grapefruit feel on that one. And my wife is in love with it as well, which always helps. For me, it just was so eye-opening that light blue would do something this different from what they had done before. And I loved this one. They came out with Italian Love after this, also very good. But quite similar to Forever. I think that for most people, Italian Love is gonna be a little more wearable because it does dial back that kind of grindiness a little bit in the opening. Like you still get some, just not as much. And that's one I would suggest to most people probably is, you know, that one's probably gonna be just a little easier for you. But for me, I love owning this one. I love having it. And that opening blast just never gets old. Yeah, I mean, summertime, I really do dig this one. So light blue forever, gotta keep that. Sultan Vetiver is next. That it's pretty obvious actually, because this is one I've talked about off and on for a while, ever since I got it. And it's just, it's a stalwart, man. It's one of my go-to vetivers. It is a vetiver that does it all. It has multiple types of vetiver, and so you get a lot of the facets of the ingredient in here. Stupid good. A little green, a little woody, a little grassy, a little dry, a little fresh. Just like I said, a bunch of different things going on with this one. Fantastic wearability. You can wear that anywhere, anytime, any place. It's gonna work. You can wear that casually, formally, on a date, whatever. And with it being in a Ashane, it's not very expensive from discounters. You know, it's around 100 bucks. Sometimes you can get it for less. And it's an extrait to Parfum. So this is like the total package for me as far as vetivers goes. Vetiver goes. Yeah. All right, last up. Boss Bottled Oud. Yeah, no, it's kind of like a weird choice, but I really like this. Fall and winter time, Boss Bottled Oud. I think a little guilty pleasure that I like to bust out from time to time. It's got a bit of that Boss Bottled flair to it. You know, that kind of apple spiciness going on. The oud is not overpowering here, not overbearing. Really, it just adds kind of a darker edge to the whole scent. It's a little more modern smelling than Boss Bottled as well. Obviously, like I said, it's better suited for fall and winter. So to me, it's almost like taking Boss Bottled and filling in some of the cracks in there with a little bit of a darker edge, a little bit of a heavier spiciness, and that woodiness from the oud, and just pushing it right over there for cool weather. And I very much prefer at this point wearing that over the original Boss Bottled. Boss Bottled Oud Saffron I like too. That one's pretty heavy on the rose, and then the sweet saffron as well. So it's not as much like a Boss Bottled flanker, you know? Well, it is. It's a Boss Bottled Oud flanker, but like this one, what I mean, you can draw closer into the original Boss Bottled than you can Oud Saffron. And so I find myself reaching for this one a little bit more because I do like to have that kind of throwback, that kind of tie-in. So there we go, guys. These 10 right here, each one of these I really love. Some for different reasons than others, but yeah, all of these, if something happened and I somehow busted the bottle or something, I'd have another one coming in before the week was out. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Let me know in the comments some of the ones that just do it for you, you know? Not even like something that you necessarily wear out all the time, but something that just when you smell it, makes you smile. Thank you guys, stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See y'all later.